Welcome back to this week's midweek mini episode of the Well House Exorcism. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
Hello, this is Puckwa PJ.
And why are you doing that voice this evening, Puckwa PJ?
This is my totally normal human voice.
There it is. I love it.
I am not an AI pretending to be human. Listen to my emotions.
How are you feeling today?
Happy.
Oh, I could tell. I can feel it.
Yeah.
All right, well, this evening...
I have the emotional range of Kristen Stewart.
Ooh, burn. No need for a joke this evening. No. All right. Before we begin, I have a joke for you, Puckwa PJ, from ChatGPT.
Okay.
Our entire theme this evening. And this joke makes no sense.
I wonder why.
Why did the vampire get a job at the blood bank?
Why?
He wanted to work the graveyard shift.
Yeah, of course. Because that's when all bankers work, obviously.
Blood bankers, exactly. Because he wanted to get a free drink. Come on now.
Oh, wow.
So ChatGPT. This week is episode 18 of our midweek mini episodes. And for this week, I want to head over to Pittsburg, PA again for an interesting story. But it's been created completely by AI. Because PJ has been talking up ChatGPT like no one's business.
That's right.
And today I sat through a 3-hour AI training at my school. And I was like, for some people who are older, this is a really good training. For me, I'm just going to sit here and pump out a whole bunch of lessons. And I did. I got to say, I used the time wisely. They had 2 different AI programs up that we could use free for education. And so I just made a whole bunch of AI generated lessons. It's great.
So first, before we get into it, for anyone listening on YouTube right now, make sure you stop doing that because after this week, that's it.
Today's the 21st.
Yeah.
We're
done.
Down to the wire.
Yeah.
Yep.
26th is the last time you'll ever hear from us.
Yep. Get a free podcast app. I have 2 on my phone. Come on now.
I have 4 or 5.
I don't even know why I have 2 when I could just
I have iHeartRadio, I have Spotify, I have podcast app, I have the podcast app.
Is there a reason why? Aren't they all on the same podcast platforms?
Yeah, there are some podcasts that aren't on one, like my favorite app, for whatever reason.
Okay.
They got deleted off, and so I had to get a different one and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, I would like to say my references this evening are 100% ChatGPT. However, because now here's the reason, listeners. If you listen all the time to us to every episode, and some of you guys are out there, like Steve and Chris and Tim and Jackie, I know, and Penny, you are all listening. PJ uses ChatGPT all the time, and I'm just like, is it really helpful?
Well, I tell it to cite things, and then I check the sites to see if they're real sites. I triple check the thing.
I know. So I thought it'd be fun today during my AI training to see how good is AI, And so I decided to see if it would like to create a mini episode for me. Now, I had ChatGPT check its references. So this is, and I'm going to be reading a script that has been created 100% by AI.
Can I do the first part?
The references?
No, about our podcast.
Yes, but I'm going to do the references. So this is all from ChatGPT. The information about the Cathedral of Learning and its associated ghost stories comes from a combination of historical accounts, local lore, and anecdotal reports. Here's a general outline of the sources and types of references typically used for such information. Number 1, historical records and university archives. So it used the University of Pittsburg archives, and it used biographies, which feature key people like John Gabbard Bowman, Andrew W. Mellon, and Henry Hornbostel to provide context of their roles and contributions. It also used local ghost stories and paranormal accounts, including things such as books and articles on Pittsburgh's hauntings and local media reports. And so it mentions here, one book includes Haunted Pittsburgh by R.J. Harper and some local newspapers around here. So it did account for that. It also said it used personal accounts.
Is that a real book?
Look it up.
I am.
personal accounts and anecdotal evidence, university staff, and student stories. So it went on and found all the different stories. Now it says these are sometimes shared in informal settings or through local ghost tours. So it kind of says they're probably not real.
It's a real book.
And number 4, cultural and historical context. So it used architectural histories and it used university history. So its final conclusion, like I said, like, are these references good? Are they solid? And it said, the blending of these sources helps create a fuller picture of the Cathedral of Learning's history and the ghost stories associated with it. However, specific paranormal claims are often anecdotal and not subject to rigorous historical or scientific verification. So then I said, okay, I want you to research the Well House Exorcism podcast. And then after that, I want you to create a story for me. So to start, I asked it, define the Well House Exorcism podcast. After that, I asked it to create an episode based on the Well House Exorcism podcast, our platform, and like how we usually do our episodes, but had to be on the Cathedral of Learning in Pittsburg, PA. Now, in reference to our podcast, ChatGPT had the following to say.
The Well House Exorcism podcast is a true crime and paranormal podcast that delves into the details of the Well House Exorcism case, a controversial and highly publicized exorcism that took place in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania.
It's so good. Now, true crime, I will say yes-ish, because Lizzie Borden. So, like, there have been a
lot of
couple.
our stuff is true crime. Like, we talk about murders and things like that.
The paranormal podcast, of course, it does delve into the details of our Well House exorcism case, but it's not controversial or highly publicized. It definitely did not take place in Pittsburgh.
We mentioned Pittsburgh a lot, though, so I wonder if that triggered something in the AI algorithm.
Maybe.
Because of the conference in October,
But that's not in Pittsburgh. I guess we say it's
near
close-ish.
Pittsburgh,
yeah, okay.
you know.
Well, listen, it tried. But anyway, continue.
Moving on. Here is a breakdown of what the podcast covers. Focus. The podcast explores the events surrounding the Well House Exorcism, a case that has intrigued both true crime enthusiasts and those interested in the supernatural. It examines the incidents leading up to the exorcism itself, and the aftermath.
That just sounds so good. I gotta say, thank you, ChatGPT.
Content. The podcast typically includes interviews with experts, witnesses, and people directly involved with the case. It also provides a detailed narrative of the events, often incorporating historical context and psychological analysis.
And that is also true.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, I do a lot, often, always incorporating history, whatever, but anyway.
Key themes, there are 3. 1. Detailed case study. The podcast provides an in-depth look at the Well House Exorcism, focusing on the specifics of the case, including the people involved and the procedures followed.
Just the Well House Exorcism, yes, just that, nothing else.
2. Paranormal investigation. It explores the supernatural aspects of the case, discussing the nature of the alleged possession and the methods used in the exorcism.
No one was possessed. We do more than the Well House anyway. Good try.
Are you feeling possessed right now?
Maybe. It was doing good, and now it's like, meow.
3. True crime elements. I'm gonna put a big yes for that, but let's see the description here. The podcast often delves into the legal and social ramifications of the case, examining how it intersects with criminal justice and public perception.
I mean, technically, for when we talk about other cases,
not
yes, but
our
not about
story,
the Well House
but...
exorcism.
So then there's the format.
Of course, because I had to know the format to create an episode for me.
So, episodes. The podcast is typically serialized, with each episode covering different aspects of the case or providing new information and analysis.
Yes, new information.
Uh-huh.
After the first couple episodes, yes.
We're still unraveling this mystery, folks.
95 episodes later.
Style. It blends investigative journalism with storytelling, aiming to provide a comprehensive and engaging account of the exorcism and its broader implications.
Yeah, I mean, half of it, I do investigate and I do storytell, but I do more. It tries.
Reception.
This makes me happy.
The podcast appeals to listeners interested in true crime, paranormal phenomena.
Do.
That's right. And real-life mysteries. I love that the script put that word in there.
I know.
It has garnered attention for its thorough research and compelling narrative style.
Yes! Thank you, ChatGPT.
Availability. The Well House Exorcism podcast is available on major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other streaming services.
But not YouTube.
Not YouTube. If you're interested in detailed accounts of paranormal events and their real-world impacts, the Well House Exorcism podcast provides a deep dive into one of the more notorious exorcism cases in recent history. We're notorious.
We're up there with the poltergeist. I don't want to brag, but this is like the new Exorcist movie at our house. So, that I think that's why this is great for this to be a mini episode, because this showcases the risks and dangers of AI. I mean, there's nothing more horrifying than this. So, in any case, I chose a story that is short, but has a lot of credibility, has a lot of background, so that way ChatGPT had a chance. It had a chance to make a decent episode. So this is going to be the episode pretty much in its entirety, but it does key points, so it makes an outline, so I gotta fill in some sentences here and there.
Yep.
But I gotta say, ChatGPT actually started off with a nice little paragraph intro and then broke it down to the history and then the ghost stories. So it followed my format. It did toss in notable events after all the ghost stuff, and then it tossed in the cultural impact afterward. Mm-hmm. Apparently we do that all the time, according to its research, so it tossed it in. And then I asked it to go a little bit more in detail about the actual ghosts and the names, because it was mostly unnamed. So then it gives you two ghosts that are sort of named-ish, and then other ones. And then I asked it to give me actual information on, because it mentions that historical figures are there haunting. And so I'm like, go into more detail about that. And then it gave me a nice summary at the end, like you always do on the podcast. So I have to say, we're going to give it a for effort, all right?
All right.
But here's ChatGPT on the Cathedral of Learning in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. And to my listeners out there, I have not fact-checked this. So if it is completely wrong, please let me know.
This is all ChatGPT.
I'd love to hear how wrong it is. The Cathedral of Learning, a prominent landmark at the University of Pittsburgh, is known for its Gothic Revival architecture and is one of the tallest university buildings in the world. Its impressive stature and historical significance have naturally given rise to various ghost stories and paranormal reports over the years. There are many key points about hauntings at the Cathedral of Learning. But first, number 1, a historical background. The Cathedral of Learning was completed in 1937 and is renowned for its intricate design and towering presence. It serves as an academic building and houses various classrooms, offices, and the nationality rooms. Now, for some common ghost stories. There is a ghost on the 40th floor. One of the most persistent stories involves a ghostly figure said to haunt the top floors of the building. Some claim to have seen a mysterious woman or experienced unusual noises, especially in areas like the 40th floor, which is not accessible to the public. There are also phantom footsteps. There are reports of unexplained footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Some attribute these sounds to ghostly presences or residual energy from past events. Then there are the nationality rooms. Some stories center around the nationality rooms, where the spirits of former students or faculty are said to linger. Finally, there's the nationality rooms. Some stories center around the nationality rooms, where the spirits of former students or faculty are said to linger. Unusual occurrences, like objects moving on their own or sudden cold spots, have been reported. But there are notable events and experiences. There is unexplained phenomena. Students and staff have reported seeing objects move on their own, hearing unexplained noises, or feeling sudden temperature drops in certain parts of the building. Also, there are historical figures. There are claims that the ghosts of historical figures connected to the university's past might be among the reported hauntings.
I feel like I heard that already.
Yeah. But overall, there is a cultural impact. The Cathedral of Learning's haunting stories have become part of its lore and contribute to its mystique. The blend of history, architecture, and ghostly legends attracts both paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors. Now, just because it doesn't believe in ghosts, it's an AI, it ended with this paragraph, and it said, "While these stories add to the building's intrigue, it's important to remember that they are anecdotal and not scientifically verified."
Yep, every time I ask it for information, it has that little tagline in there.
Just so you know.
Just so you know, ghosts may not be real.
So then I said, well, let's go a little bit further, ChatGPT. Give me the names of the people in this building, because so far everything's been vague. On the 40th floor, but no one's allowed there. It doesn't say which
There's
rooms.
a woman?
Question mark? Yeah. So it said, the Cathedral of Learning remains a significant and respected academic site with its haunting tales adding an extra layer of fascination for those interested in the supernatural. Specific names of ghosts associated with the Cathedral of Learning are not well documented, as many ghost stories about the buildings are more generalized. However, some local lore and anecdotal reports do mention certain ghostly figures. First, there is the woman in white. Often mentioned in stories related to the top floors or the 40th floor, this spectral figure is sometimes described as a mysterious woman in white. Who would have thought?
Whoa.
Thank you, ChatGPT. Her presence is said to be accompanied by unexplained noises and a general feeling of unease. Next is the ghostly student. Some tales involve the spirit of a former student or scholar who is believed to haunt the nationality rooms. This ghost is often described as a young person who may have had a significant connection to the university.
Would you be quiet? I'm making flashcards.
Does no one use a Dewey Decimal System anymore? And then number 3, it said unnamed I asked it for names. And ChatGPT says unnamed apparitions. Thanks, ChatGPT.
I wonder if it's going to just re-describe them again.
Let's see. Other ghostly figures in the Cathedral of Learning are often described in vague terms without specific names.
Yeah, we noticed ChatGPT.
These might include shadowy figures or indistinct presences felt or glimpsed by those who report paranormal experiences. Some ghost stories involve shadowy or indistinct figures rather than named individuals. These might be attributed to past students, faculty, or other historical figures connected to the university, but concrete details are often lacking. So then it said, while there are numerous ghost stories associated with the Cathedral of Learning, specific historical figures who are rumored to haunt the building are not well documented. So I said, please go in detail. Tell me these you mentioned it 3 times now. Who are the historical figures? So it said, the ghost stories tend to be more generalized and less about specific individuals. However, there are some theories and tales that link hauntings to certain historical figures connected with the building.
Fine, I'll give you a name. God, just leave me alone.
Pretty much, I think, at this point. The first person it gave me was John Gabbert Bowman. And the theory behind it being haunted here with him is some speculate that the spirit of John Gabbert Bowman, the university president who was crucial in the planning and construction of the Cathedral of Learning, might linger in the building due to his deep connection to it. However, this is more a matter of speculation than documented evidence. So I said, who's John Gabbert Bowman? And it said, his role was the president of the University of Pittsburgh,
Okay,
which I already learned in the previous paragraph. And I said, what's so special? What did he give to this place? His contribution. Bowman was instrumental in the planning and construction of the Cathedral of Learning.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. His vision.
Was that so hard, ChatGPT?
Now we know why he haunts it, because he helped build it. His vision and leadership helped bring the project to fruition during the 1920s and 1930s. So that's what you get.
All right.
Now, a second person that ChatGPT gave me was Andrew W. Mellon. The theory as to why this person's haunting the place. As a major benefactor, Mellon's legacy is intertwined with the Cathedral of Learning. There are no specific reports of Mellon's ghost haunting the building. But his significant role in its history makes him a potential, albeit speculative, figure in the lore. Thanks, ChatGPT.
I'm not saying it's Andrew Mellon, but it might be Andrew Mellon.
So I said, well, what was his role at this university? His role was philanthropist and former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, which is great.
Cool.
And I said, well, what did he contribute to the university to make him want to stay here? Mellon was a significant benefactor to the University of Pittsburgh. His financial support was crucial in the construction of the Cathedral of Learning, and his contributions are recognized in various aspects of the university. So... Give me the names of the guys and why they're haunting it. Well, actually, there's no stories about him actually haunting the place. Thanks, ChatGPT.
They just might be there.
Here's my
because
assumption.
they have names and they've been in the building.
Yeah. So then to finish the episode, it gave a summary, like I always do. But unlike me, it says, in summary. And as an English teacher, I say, never do that.
In conclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the end of my essay.
I hope you enjoyed reading it. In summary, while ghost stories abound, specific named historical figures associated with hauntings at the Cathedral of Learning are more speculative. The ghostly tales are generally about vague or nameless apparitions, and there's no concrete evidence linking specific historical figures to the
I
hauntings.
think I've heard that like 5 times now.
So, when people say that AI is going to take over the world, listen.
I am people. You like joke? I tell good jokes.
Like you read like iRobot.
Work the graveyard shift. Because he's a vampire at the blood bank.
And I think at this point, listeners, you know that I don't lie. Like we're almost into episode 100 of the original
Except when you go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
See, now that was a joke, ChatGPT. Notice the connection with the wordplay there?
You lie down. You lay the book down. Yeah, I give you the grammar. So I think of things like Isaac Asimov's, iRobot, and how they're afraid that you're going to have a robot take over the world. I'm not saying that AI isn't scary because you can generate some crazy stuff. And that's something that I learned today, like how far some people are taking it and how they're using it as a new format of like bullying and creating fake news. Like fake news is fake news now, let me tell you that. But when I ask it something simple, like give me a summary of the Well House exorcism, it just had to use our website and little like clips from all of our podcasts. It tried. But it did the too long didn't read version where it's like, oh, the first couple episodes are about this, so therefore they're all about this, If I were an English teacher getting an essay turned in from a student, I would know right away that they didn't try.
Oh, yeah.
Like this would be like a 50% tops for me if I said like, here's your job. But I could also see the repetitiveness of like either you're trying to fill paper space, you're copying and pasting, or you didn't write this, right? So
we had a student turn in an AI paper last year. And we handed it right back and said, nope, you can type your own, thank you.
It's pretty obvious. Like, so I give ChatGPT credit here, the creators of it. And it's almost like using Google like 5.0.
That's the best way to use it.
Yeah.
As a very advanced search engine.
And, if I had said, create me a script, and then I looked at this and said, okay, now I'm going to go back and find the actual data and toss in, like, what room is the most haunted on the 40th floor? I could see using AI as a platform to build off of.
Yeah.
For our script writing purposes, for things like the midweek minis, because they're really short. Mm-hmm. But definitely, as of right now, AI is not taking over the world. I
think once a month we need to have an AI-generated episode. That's what I think.
Okay. No, I can't wait. I'm enjoying this. So, actually, what I like to say is then to our listeners...
I'll make special music for it.
Ding, ding,
yeah, it'll be the same exact song, but in 8-bit.
Yeah, it'll sound like we're going on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, like a Nintendo made the music.
Ding, 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 ding. So listeners, please let me know what you thought about our ChatGPT episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. Would you want to hear one of these one a month? Because I think we should bring in a whole new team member. And his name is Chat. Mr. Chat. What are your thoughts, Puckwa PJ?
I love this.
You love it?
It's fantastic.
What do you think about its work on the Cathedral of Learning?
I don't trust it at all. This place is not haunted. I will just say that right now.
Based on your research, Chet, it's not haunted.
Given the vagueness of it.
And Cathedral of Learning, I promise at some point we'll do a proper episode for you. Maybe we should do like a midweek mini where it's like the ChatGPT version. The next week is here's the
The real one. Or vice versa. We do a real one and then have ChatGPT like fact check us.
How good can it go? All right. Well, anyway, thank you all for listening to the Well House Exorcism. Find us on Instagram as Well House Exorcism, all one word, on Twitter X as wellhouse_exorc, or on Facebook under Games Overboard because we are a subsidiary. Feel free to hop on our website as well, gamesoverboard.com, and please email us. We want to hear from you.
And stop listening to us on YouTube. Stop
no
it.
YouTube for you. And as always,
think spooky thoughts.
Ding 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 ding. Powering down.